Hi again, here we are to continue talking about Swift, UIKit, and making custom components. And so far, I have a component here that we can kind of draw, and we can make it, configured in different ways and set its colors and things. This component is working out pretty good so far, but what I really want to do is show a label in the middle. So the value here can be represented numerically, right? And that'll just make this a lot more clear to people that are using it, what's going on. So it's got kind of a graphic display and then a numeric display to reflect what's going on there, right? Let's take a quick look at Sketch. So here's my design here. And I added these red boxes to show us what we're going to do next, right? So imagine that this is a UILabel that we've added to our view. So the view for the circle view here should be the circle view component, widget thing, right? Should be this outer red box. So remember the stroke always draws itself just inside its container, right? So just inside its view, the bounds of its view, right? So what we need to do is we need to place a label inside the center here, but it has to fit inside here a little ways, right? So we kind of want to fit it just about inside here. It could be a little bigger, a little smaller, but it could be like this. That would be fine. Maybe it could be a little smaller, maybe, but it's got to fit kind of right in the middle there. Okay, so how are we going to do that, right? Let's give it a try. So let's go back to our class here, the circle view. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go all the way to the top, and I'm going to add a new private variable. Let's say private let, and we'll call it label, and then we'll make this a UILabel. Okay, so we'll make a brand new label instance, and now what we'll need to do is configure the label. So let's scroll down a little ways here, and let's find the setup method. And here we've added the back shape as a sublayer and the gradient layer as a sublayer, and then we drew the gradient, we added a stroke, we configured our strokes, and maybe at the very bottom of this class, like before this curly bracket here that ends the class, what we'll do is we'll set up the label. Okay, now the label is a view, it's not a layer. Okay, so if we add this view in there, it should be on top of all the layers, right? So it'll be in front of everything else. So what we're going to do is we're going to say add sub view. And the view we want to add is called label. Okay? And now the label won't show as anything unless we configure it, right? So right now let's just configure it with some default text and just for testing, right? So we can see it. And then we'll add some properties maybe so that you can set the value in the label later, okay? So first of all, let's set the frame. Okay, so now if you recall from the drawing here, I want this one to fit just inside the other one. So essentially, we can get this frame here and then use inset by to create another frame that's inset by this amount. So we just have to kind of guesstimate how far in we want to go. So I'm going to guess that's about, it's kind of like 1/4 the width of this thing, right? Something like that. So why don't we do this? Why don't we say, let's do let inset x equal bounds dot width divided by 4. I'm just guesstimating here. Inset y will be bounds dot height divided by 4, right? And then what we'll do is we'll say label your frame will be equal to the bounds of the view inset by the inset x and the inset y. Okay? And then let's set some other features here. So maybe we got to give it a font and a font size. So we'll say label dot font equals UI font And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do system font, system font of size, right? And we can set the size here. I'm going to guesstimate the size. We might want to be able to adjust this, or maybe even make that a inspectable property, so we can just set the size in the inspector, right? But for right now, why don't we just call it 22? Okay, we'll just guess that one, right? And then let's also set the color. So let's say label dot text color equals UI color dot white. And then oh yeah, we should align the text in the middle. So let's say label dot align text alignment, and then we'll do dot center. Okay. And then we still won't see anything unless we put some text in there. So we'll actually save controlling the text value for the next video, because we'll have to format numbers and stuff. So that'll be a whole task. But for right now, why don't we just say label dot text, just text equals, and we'll put some value in there. How about 99 is a good value, right? So we'll save that, and we'll take a quick look in the in Storyboard and see what happens. Oh, there it is, 99. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Maybe I want to make the text like a little bit bigger. That's a little small. I said 22. Let's do 33 and see what it looks like. Now, I use this system font of size, so that means it's going to grab the current system font. So if there was a different system font, then it would use that. And that's kind of a safe choice a lot of times. But if you want to use a custom font, we can do that too. Realize though that if we use a custom font, then anyone using this component would be required to use that custom font, right? So we might want to instead set the font from outside, so that maybe in the inspector they can set the font, or we might want to include some other way for adjusting the font. Maybe, if we can't do it through Storyboard, or if it seems awkward there, maybe we can just create a method up here, or a property that you can set the font in code. So if you need to change the font, then you can do it in code. If you're not changing the font, then it's using the default system font, which is probably all the same fonts that are appearing everywhere else on the screen. So it's probably a safe font that will work well. Okay. So anyway, thanks for watching, and then I hope that was helpful there.